Have you ever taken the time to reflect on the purpose behind each obstacle you face in life? Do you ever wonder if there is a deeper reason for the hard things you go through? Some people may think it sounds like another motivating quote you see on social media. What if I told you it's more than that, though? What if I told you that this idea comes from an old philosophy that has been around for a long time? Yes, I'm talking about Stoicism, a school of thought that teaches us to accept life's challenges with serenity and wisdom rather than just enduring them. We can find the essence of Stoicism in the virtues that make us who we are today. This ancient wisdom can help us find our way through the hardest times and guide us on our daily journey. Stoicism can help us learn how to deal with problems in our personal or work lives, problems that arise out of the blue, or just the normal ups and downs of life. In the midst of trouble, it gives us a way to not only survive, but also thrive. We learn from it that changing our situations won't make our lives more satisfying. What matters is how we react to them. It encourages us to cultivate a strong attitude and find strength in our own capacity to change and grow in the face of adversity. You've come to the right place if you've ever felt like you're always going against the current, if you've ever thought how to find peace in the midst of a storm, or if you're just interested in how old wisdom can help us understand our modern existence. I want you to join me on this journey of getting to know myself and growing as a person. So let's look at how to use the ideas of Stoicism to turn our hardest times into our biggest wins. We will learn to live with purpose, honesty, and an inner strength that can't be broken. With each step, this journey will offer us a chance to learn, grow, and find new ways to face life with courage and drive. As we start this life-changing trip, I want to ask you to click the subscribe button and stay with us the whole way. Every moment will be meant to move you, give you strength, and show you the way to being real and whole. You will not want to miss any part of this life-changing event. Come with us to learn how to use problems to move forward in your evolution. Number 1. Ask yourself what your limits are. Have you ever been content with less than what you could have? Our lives often have times when we don't really question the limits we've set for ourselves for days, weeks, or even years. But this is where the important question, why not, comes up. It's a simple question, but it can help us get past the fear and routine that are holding us back. Now, the Stoics were not inactive. They did not let life happen to them because they were full of stoicism. They took charge of their lives and constantly looked at their choices, actions and relationships through the lens of virtue and self-improvement. A Stoic would ask, why not take the path that leads to growth when they had to make a choice or deal with a problem? It's not about taking chances without thinking. It's about making choices that are in line with your better self and core ideals. So, if you're at a crossroads and not sure whether to step into the unknown or make your efforts better, stop and ask yourself, why? Why not try to get that raise, start that project, or trust your dreams? Our futures are shaped in these times of choice. But here's the catch. Why is it not just about facing problems from the outside? Why is it also about facing stories inside our heads that hold us back? It's about fighting self-doubt, fear of failing, and being happy with the way things are. It's a call to action that tells you to stop being average and accept your greatness. Remember all the Stoic heroes you know, from Seneca to Marcus Aurelius. They saw problems as chances to learn and grow. They didn't settle for a simple, easy life. Instead, they chose the road of virtue, strength, and personal greatness. When you ask yourself, why not? You are doing just that. You're ready to take on life head-on, to learn and grow, and to come out of it better and smarter. When you start to question yourself, remember that you have the power to change the story and the strength to go beyond what you think you can do. Think like a Stoic and ask yourself, why not? See how far your interest, courage, and dedication can take you. Second, the need to always be making progress. This never-ending search for improvement fits nicely with Marcus Aurelius's idea of always moving forward or being a project that is changing. Focusing on what they could change, like their virtues, actions and reactions to things happening around them, was what the Stoics believed in. They didn't try to be perfect. Instead, they wanted to get better. That's what I want you to do. Strive for progress by constantly reflecting. Whether it's improving your work skills, building your relationships, or creating a cult that inspires inner peace, progress is at the heart of everything that matters. Growth is at the heart of a happy life. You are naturally in tune with the Stoic virtue of self-control when you are constantly working to improve yourself. You're on a journey to become the best version of yourself because it's the best way to live by your principles, not for praise or validation from others. However, here's the thing. Being obsessed with better yourself doesn't mean being mean or harsh to yourself. It means being kind and determined to grow. It involves recognizing the small victories while still looking forward to the next stage of your evolution. Oh, there will be mistakes and failures along the way. But like a true Stoic, you won't see them as losses. Instead, you'll see them as lessons and steps toward improvement. So how do you keep this fixation on progress going? Set clear, conscious goals that are in line with your core ideals as a first step. Every day, think about the things you do and choices you make and ask yourself, how do they connect to your growth goals? Step 3. Live your life with energy and purpose. People who are Stoic are known for being strong, stable, and devoted to their beliefs without wavering. They give everything when they commit to something, not because they want praise or attention, but because they know that this is the essence of living a good life with meaning. They aren't half-hearted about their tasks or interests. They give their all to what they're doing. They show us that the worth of our actions doesn't lie in the results, but in how committed we are to them. They put all of their energy and efforts into their businesses, no matter what kind they are. Every day, they are determined not to let sloth take over, but to use their thoughts, choices, and actions to make their own future. It's not enough to just think big. You have to also act big. It is those brave and determined steps that keep them going, even when the road ahead is rough and full of unknowns. But here's an important thing to remember. Giving it your all isn't just about what you do, it's also about how you do it. Sincerity, desire, and honesty are important when it comes to your tasks, your relationships, and your personal growth. Working on a project, spending time with loved ones, or taking time to reflect on your personal growth are all examples of being fully present and involved in the face of challenges. It means meeting them with bravery and strength, using your inner strength to get through hard times. How can you start to give your life your all? Figure out what's most important to you, your core beliefs, your most important goals, and your greatest hobbies. Then make a promise to follow them with all your heart. Hold yourself to high standards and work hard every day, not because you feel like you have to, but because you want to live a full and honest life. Remember that giving your all is not something you do just once. It's something you do every day, with every breath. If you follow this philosophy, it will not only help you reach your goals, but it will also give you a great sense of purpose and satisfaction on your trip. Fourth, stay on your way. The world we live in is full of challenges, things that draw our attention away, and, let's be honest, many reasons to go in a different direction. Yet, this is where the real magic takes place. A stand for something bigger is what you do when you stick to your plan, even when there is a lot of noise and chaos around you. In the end, you are respecting your path, your beliefs, and yourself. The Stoics knew that life is full of things that can take our attention away from our real purpose, but they also knew how important it was to stay the course and stick to your principles and goals. Being Stoic and sticking to your path isn't just about getting things done. It's also about having ethics and character. What does it mean for you to keep going? Being clear about your life's path means knowing what you stand for, what you want to achieve, and what kind of person you want to be. When you do this, you keep your eyes on your North Star and use it to guide you, even when it rains and the water gets rough. The important thing is to remember that staying on your path doesn't mean being fixed or unwilling to change. Sometimes you have to change your course to stay on course. You can do this by learning from your mistakes and changing your sails as needed. Most importantly, these changes should always be in line with your core values and long-term goals. How are you going to stay on track? Start by knowing yourself. Reflect on your life's beliefs, goals, and purpose. Cultivate the self-control to make choices that are right for you, even if they are difficult or disliked. Use them as a guide. Also, know that being tough is important. Look at challenges and failures as chances to fortify your resolve and increase your dedication to your journey. Fifth, don't worry about the results. People often tell us to keep our eyes on the goal and judge our success by what we've already done. However, what if I told you that letting go of success gives you a lot of freedom and power? Where Stoicism really shines is in giving us a deeply freeing view that can change how we see life and what success means to us. According to the Stoics, there are some things we can manage and some things we can't. We can choose to work hard, have good goals, and have the right attitude, but we can't always control what happens. By keeping our eyes on the end result, we prepare for anger, sadness, and even hopelessness because we are hanging on to something we can't handle. What does it mean to take the focus off of results? Putting our whole selves into something means giving it our all, whether it's a work job, a personal goal, or a friendship. It means giving the process our full attention and being open to the difficulties and chances to learn that come up without getting too tied to the end result. Think about how freeing it would be to do your job with love and dedication, not because you think it will get you awards or praise, but because you believe in what you're doing. It is the essence of Stoic wisdom to find happiness and purpose in the things you do, not just the results they might have. To be clear though, not focused on results doesn't mean you don't care about success or don't set goals. It means you redefine success in terms of your own character, honesty, bravery, and dedication. You have learned and grown. From a Stoic point of view, these are the real ways to measure progress. What are some ways you can start to think this way? Reflect on your beliefs and the kind of person you want to be before moving forward. In light of this, concentrate more on the traits you want to cultivate and the actions you want to take than on the benefits you hope to receive from outside sources. When you're worried about how things are going, gently tell yourself of what you can change and try to focus your energy on your efforts and mood. Sixth, what you put out is what you get back. Imagine that your existence serves as a mirror that reflects both what you show to the outside world and what is inside of you. People who are angry, afraid, or negative can taint their experiences and relationships with others. On the other hand, if you work on virtues like honesty, kindness, and mental strength, they will show in your life and bring you good relationships and situations. People who believed in Stoicism stressed how important it was to build a strong, good character because they knew that this is what makes life worth living. They thought it was impossible to change the world around you, but that you could change how you behave in that setting. You will simply create a life that reflects those virtues by focusing on being the best version of yourself. How then can you live by this concept in your everyday life? Do some self-reflection every so often and look at your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors with a critical but caring eye. Find ways to improve and grow and work on developing the virtues that matter to you, whether they are kindness for others, courage in the face of hardship, or persistence in reaching your goals. Keep in mind that this doesn't mean being perfect or not making mistakes. It just means being aware of your inner state and how it shows up in the outside world. Although it can be hard, you should try to make sure that your actions are in line with your greatest values. And when you fail, which we all do, you should be humble and strong enough to learn from your mistakes and keep going on your path to self-improvement. When you follow Stoic wisdom, you give yourself the power to create your own world. You realize that you can't change everything that happens to you, but you can change how you respond and who you choose to be. As you connect your being with your greatest goals, the world around you will begin to reflect that same quality and depth. Seventh, take the test right now. Consider the problems you have encountered in your own existence. Our first response could be anger, disappointment, or even hopelessness. The essence of this Stoic principle is that we should see these challenges as hidden chances or catalysts for our own development and self-exploration. When the Stoics talked about problems, they didn't play them down. They were well aware of the pain and problems that each problem can cause. But they also thought that every problem had the potential for an advantage equal to or greater to it. It's not the problem itself that makes us fail, but how we handle it. When we choose to see a problem as a chance, we stop being passive consumers of our situations and become active and powerful change agents. How can you use the idea that the problem is the way in your everyday life? When you're facing a problem, start by changing the way you think about it. Take a moment to think about what you can learn from this and how it can help you grow instead of letting problems drain your energy and mental health. You can use challenges as stepping stones to improve your strength, imagination, and determination. Keep in mind that the best roads are often the ones that are the hardest. Your character and personal story are shaped by the problems you face, the obstacles you get past, and the drive you show. Each challenge gives you a chance to work on virtues like patience, courage, and flexibility, which will make you smarter and stronger. Also, remember that getting past problems often takes creative thought and a desire to go in new directions. This is the time of trouble when we are told to broaden our views, think in new ways, and find skills we didn't know we had. We cultivate a sense of thanks for the growth they allow us by taking a stoic stance toward challenges. Learning to value the journey, with all of its ups and downs, and understanding that the most important lessons are often learned through hardship. Eighth, do not much but good. The enormity of our goals or the difficulty of our tasks can easily overpower us in the vast patchwork of existence. We might ask, what does my intervention have to do with this? We might only make a small difference, but that's how big things are made, by the sum of their parts, which are made up of small acts that may not seem important at first. People who follow the Stoic philosophy know that we can't change big things that happen, but we can change the choices we make. Instead of getting stuck on the big job at hand or getting too focused on the faraway goal, they tell us to pay attention to the present and do what is right and necessary at that very moment. No matter how small or unimportant our efforts may seem, doing the little that we can is a call to action that inspires us to live life with purpose and hard work. How can we use this idea in our everyday lives? First, we can break down our most important goals into steps that are easier to handle and more likely to be reached. Let's think about what we can get done today, even if it's just a little progress. Keep in mind that what matters is how consistently and persistently we act, not how much we do. Each small step is important because it builds a base that will support our bigger goals in the long run. This Stoic way of thinking also tells us to find worth and meaning in the process, not just the end result. Focusing on the small things we can do makes us more aware of the moment, more involved, and often more productive. We learn to value the road with all of its ups and downs because we know that our daily actions and attitudes are what make us grow and feel fulfilled. By following this philosophy, we cultivate humility and resolve, acknowledge that we are not all-powerful, but also believe in our ability to affect and take action. When we learn to change and keep going, even when progress seems slow or impossible, we become adaptive. 9. Change how you think about success. Sometimes financial wealth, job titles, or social media fans are used to measure success. This can make it easy to lose sight of what's really important. But what would happen if we stopped and thought about what success really meant to us? People who follow the Stoic philosophy teach us that the only way to really achieve success is not to get more things or make other people like you, but to build a strong character that works with nature and serves our human functions, which are to be whole, brave, and smart no matter what. This way of looking at success is very powerful because it gives us the power to take action. We may not be able to control the economy, the job market, or how other people see us, but we can control our own deeds and virtues. So how can we start to change the way we think about success? Do some deep self-reflection and think about what you really value and what kind of person you want to be. Set goals that are in line with these principles, focused on your own growth and how you can make a positive difference in other people's lives. Identify the virtues in others that you admire and want to cultivate in yourself. To change what success means, you have to learn to value the process as well as the result. Honor your hard work, your determination, and your growth, even if the results don't show up right away. Remember that in Stoicism, how you deal with problems is just as important as how well you reach your goals. It means keeping your ethics and calmness, no matter what is going on around you. When you aren't constantly seeking outward validation, you will also find that your idea of success can make you happier and more fulfilled. Once you have that freedom, you can focus on what makes you truly happy and fulfilled. You will probably find that the practice of virtue and meaningful connection with the world are much more satisfying than any external accomplishments you may achieve. Number 10. Don't always try to get approval. In a culture where getting other people's approval and validation is so important, it's easy to lose our essence and forget our main goals and values in the process of trying to please others. Individualism, on the other hand, is a strong contrast to this focus on the outside world. It reminds us that our qualities and decisions should be based on our own beliefs and virtues, not on what other people think. Some people who follow the Stoic philosophy say that trying to please others can turn into a form of slavery because we let their opinions and views control our actions and self-esteem. We gain a deep sense of freedom and sincerity when we let go of this need for outward validation. We are then free to act in line with our own values and beliefs, following what we truly desire. The rightness and importance of our choices don't depend on how well they do in the eyes of others. Then how can we start to separate our deeds from the need to please? First, it's important to become very self-aware. To distinguish between actions motivated by a desire for outward validation and those based in our true selves, we need to understand our motives. This isn't always easy because it requires being honest and thinking about yourself, but it is a necessary step toward a more genuine and satisfying existence. Next, we need to build trust in our own choices and opinions. The Stoics stress how important it is to use reason and wisdom to decide what to do. When we trust our own judgment and act in line with our well-thought-out beliefs, we count less on other people's support and can stick to our decisions, even if they are seen as unpopular or wrong, because we know they are based on our core values. It is also important to understand that we can't please everyone. This is not only okay, but also normal and unavoidable. Each of us is a unique person with our own views, ideals, and points of view. It is impossible to meet everyone's needs, and if we tried, we would have to constantly change and adapt to meet other people's standards, which would mean losing who we are. Being truthful and honest with ourselves helps us find real relationships based on mutual respect and shared values. And even if we are faced or turned down, we can take heart in the fact that we are living with integrity and following our Stoic ideals. 11. Don't let anything confuse you. In a world that always wants our time, attention, and energy, being able to say no to ourselves is a very useful skill. Not only do we have to say no to things we don't want to do, but we also have to stand up for our goals, values, and independence. Stoic philosophy tells us to pay attention to what is truly important and within our control. This may mean turning down requests, chances, or even demands that go against our core values. The Stoics believed that we should live in balance with nature, which means that we should know and accept our own boundaries. They knew that our time and energy are limited and that we need to be careful about how we use them. So, knowing how to say no is very important. Being discerning helps us focus on what is truly important and helpful, not just what is urgent or what other people want us to do. But, let's be honest, it can be very hard to say no. It takes guts, especially when we've been taught to please other people or are afraid of letting them down. However, the Stoic way of thinking tells us to trust our own judgment and make choices based on reason and virtue, not on fear or peer pressure. When we say no out of strong conviction, we're not just turning down an offer. We're saying a lot about our values and our desire to live an honest life. How can we then improve our capacity to say no? To begin, You need to be clear about what you stand for, what you value, and what your goals are. If you know where you want to go and what you stand for, it will be easier to tell which requests are in line with your path and which ones are not. Remember that telling someone no doesn't have to be rude or angry. It can be done with respect and kindness, saying thank you for the offer while strongly declining it. Learning how to say no can also be freeing. It can free us from promises and pressures that aren't necessary, letting us focus on what really matters. By respecting our own needs and limits, we also cultivate self-respect. Surprisingly, this can also make other people respect us more because they will see our honesty and clarity of purpose. Do not worry about number 12. Let go with the help of ignorance. What is the best way to let go of the use of indifference? Understanding and accepting the difference between what we can and cannot control is important. We can control our actions, our attitudes, and our virtues, but not the results, the actions of others, or the randomness of fate. It's easier to let go of the anger, stress, and sadness that come from hanging on to things we can't change when we really understand this. To be clear though, letting go of boredom does not mean that you don't care about anything. It means that we should really care about the things that are right, the things that are in our control, and be fair to the rest. It's about wisely using our energy, putting all of our heart and effort into what we do, and letting go of our commitment to results. Just think about how much lighter you'd feel if you stopped feeling bad about everything that didn't go the way you wanted it to, and stopped getting caught up in problems that aren't yours to solve. Instead, imagine redirecting that energy toward what truly matters: your passions, your relationships, your growth. By releasing the grip of frustration and disappointment, you open yourself up to a world of possibilities. Embrace the journey, embrace the process, and trust that everything will unfold as it should. After all, life's beauty often lies in its unpredictability. It seems like words don't mean much anymore in this world of noise and shallowness. This makes people wonder if they can show how valuable they are without saying a word. Is it possible to discover the worth and goals of the people around us? The old philosophy of Stoicism says the answer is a strong yes. The Stoics thought that being brave was one of the most important things a person could have, and that deeds, not words, could show how brave someone was. I want to ask you to go on this trip of personal growth. You will learn how to see your worth and set a good standard for yourself and the world. Allow us to begin. Make an effort to look good. Before you think of a Stoic as a serious, unfriendly, ancient person, let me clear the air. Being a Stoic isn't about hiding your feelings or being different. It's about knowing what needs your attention and what doesn't. Your energy should go to how you present yourself. Your energy should go to how you present yourself. In relationships, let's talk about what it means to treat yourself with respect. It's possible to lose who we are when we try too hard to please someone. For example, we might dress or talk in a way that makes them like us less. Here's where our Stoic wisdom comes in. Your worth doesn't come from what you wear or where you go, but from how you act, what you do, and the choices you make. If you're in a cafe and see two people on a date, what would you do? One is trying to show off and impress, while the other is happy with how they look. Which do you think will stick with you the longest? It's true that there's strength in carrying yourself with honor. To be a Stoic, you have to be honest and respect yourself. Today, this means easy things. If you're excited about something, give it your all and let it shine. You don't have to act like someone else. You just have to feel good in your own skin and know that you're good enough the way you are. Also, be nice to yourself. The way you treat yourself determines how other people will treat you. What do you want to say? That getting treated the same way is fine. But when you value yourself, your time, your energy, and your feelings, you send a loud and clear message. I deserve respect and expect to be treated that way. In relationships, it's not just about what you say or how you see yourself. It's also about how you act and respond to different things. Are you acting out of panic or with respect? Don't give up on your ideals just to fit in. Stand your ground, even if it means being by yourself. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. We all make mistakes and have days when we feel weird. But it's how you handle those times that matter. Do you give up when things get tough, or do you keep your cool and learn from it? Let's talk about how we can start acting more formally in the people we meet every day. Setting clear, healthy limits in our relationships and being clear about what we're ready to accept and what we're not might be one way. This helps us keep our mental safety and set a standard of respect for each other. Learn to say no to things that don't fit with our values and goals. This is another way to treat ourselves with respect. This could mean turning down commitments or situations that make us feel bad or go against our values. Because of this, we show that we are true to ourselves and support our right to live by our beliefs. Maybe it's also about being kinder and more respectful to others in our daily lives, seeing the humanity in everyone we meet and understanding how they feel and what they're going through. We can build relationships that are more real and important this way. The more we know and value our own dignity, the more the outside world will notice it. This will change how other people see and treat us, starting a good circle of respect and love for each person's dignity. Know how much you're worth. Oh, you might be thinking, oh, it's just another talk about self-love. But stay with me, because I'm not going to talk about telling yourself over and over again how great you are. What does knowing your worth in relationships have to do with Stoicism? In fact, quite a bit. As the Stoics teach, the most important thing is to focus on what we can change. For example, we can change how we feel about ourselves. It doesn't matter how many Instagram likes you get or who friend requests you on any other social network. What matters is how you see and respect yourself. Consider this. Picture yourself as a valuable stone. Is it true that not everyone knows how much a rare rock is worth? People might not know what it is and walk right by it, but that doesn't change how much it's worth. It's still expensive, rare, and one of a kind. That's a true reflection of who you are. Real, one of a kind, and expensive. It doesn't make you less valuable if someone doesn't see it. Let's be honest for a moment. Everyone here has been turned down or felt like they weren't good enough at some point. This is especially true in today's world where everyone seems to be living their best life. What Stoicism does, though, is tell you that your worth is not based on what other people think of you, but on how you live your life, your virtues, and the things you do. Are you nice? Are you telling the truth? Are you happy with the way you live? That's where your real worth lies. Self-reflection was very important to the Stoics. So stop for a moment and think about your traits, not just the obvious ones, but also the ones that are more important to you. Whether you're kind, strong, or a good listener, these are the things that make you valuable. Here's the secret. When you know this fully and honestly, it will change how you deal with others in relationships. You won't put up with nonsense not because you're cocky, but because you value yourself too highly. Here's a Stoic practice for you. The next time someone makes fun of you, don't give up and start doubting yourself. Instead, ask yourself what your skills and values are. It's not about acting haughty, it's about quietly realizing that you are good without needing validation from others. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic rulers, says that you could change the outside world, but not your mind. You will find strength if you realize this. Figuring out our own worth is very important when we're talking about relationships. It's important to know that our worth doesn't come from how other people see us. It comes from how we see ourselves. Every day, it's a lesson and an exercise to cultivate and support our self-esteem and confidence. When we wake up, we have the chance to affirm our worth, no matter what other people think or say. We need to tell ourselves that we are important and deserving of love and respect, not because someone else says so, but because we truly believe it. We realize that our worth doesn't come from what other people think of us, but from our own essence and character as we work on getting to know and accept ourselves. Every step we take on this path of self-discovery helps us understand how much we're really worth. Personal growth is a slow and steady process through which we learn to see and value our skills, virtues, and unique qualities. As we go deeper into this inner journey, we learn that our worth is not based on what other people think of us. Understanding that we can cultivate and increase our worth over time gives us the power to take care of our lives and relationships, frees us from the need to seek validation from others, and enables us to live with unbreakable self-esteem and confidence. Finding strength in our own worth, even if other people don't see it, and realizing that we deserve love and respect just for being ourselves is what it's all about. Don't tell me what to do, show me. This idea also works great when we talk about setting limits. It's one thing to tell someone what your limits are, it's quite another to follow through and show them. Think about it this way, anyone can say they won't stand for being mistreated, but when you do it, that's when you face the truth. When it comes to your lines, do you stick to them or let people cross them? That's where your real strength lies. It's not what you say, but what you do. This might not be easy, especially if you're feeling bad. Remember, though, what our Stoic friends told us. We have power over everything, even how we respond to things. Your actions, not what you say, show them what the line is when someone crosses it. It says a lot about you how you act if someone lies to you after you've made it clear that you value honesty. You're not making a scene by walking away or talking about the problem in a straight and cool way. This shows that you respect yourself and want to be respected in a way that fits with your values. This way of doing things can really change the way relationships work. People start to understand what you will and will not accept when they see that you have limits, that you will not let people cross, and rules and values that you are determined to uphold. It's about developing a sense of being an artist. Having self-respect is important, and you should stick to it. When it comes to the little things that happen every day, this is where you really become stoic. It's not just about the big things. What you do when someone breaks plans at the last minute, or when someone doesn't care about you anymore. With cool words and deeds, you let them know that this is not okay. Being present in the present moment is not the only thing that awareness is. Immersing ourselves fully in the present moment means paying close attention to every thought, feeling, and action that comes up within us. We are asked to question and reflect on how our actions reflect our personal boundaries and core values as we move along this road of self-awareness. Being fully present in the present moment gives us a chance to check if our actions are in line with our boundaries and true selves. We are always judging ourselves and asking if our actions are in line with our core beliefs and values, or if they are different from who we really are because of outside influences or societal standards. When we do this, we look at every contact and situation very carefully, trying to figure out how we are reacting and whether we are being honest with ourselves. We are asked to be aware of our own boundaries, to know when we feel unsafe or harmed, and to take action to safeguard our honesty and mental health. The little things that happen in everyday life are where our real nature and character strength are tested. In order to cultivate greater clarity and wisdom in our actions and choices, the practice of mindfulness pushes us to be present in each moment, to be aware of how we are responding to the different situations of life. When we go about our daily lives and interact with other people, we can set and show our personal limits in a more stoic way. It's not enough to have tight rules or be rigid in how we deal with others. We need to develop an inner sense that leads how we act and respond to different scenarios. This inner guide, which comes from Stoic ideas, tells us to always know our own boundaries and values and act in line with them. Our healthy limits should reflect who we are and what we value in life, not walls that keep the outside world out. People around us start to notice when we start to live this way. They start to see us as people who not only set clear limits, but also respect each other enough to make others respect them. It's like we're agreeing to ideals so that other people can live easier lives. We can cultivate a higher sense of self-worth and trust in ourselves by adopting this attitude, which also enables us to develop more genuine and respectful relationships. When we stick to our limits and values, we shine a light of honesty and integrity in a world that is often unsure and confusing. Finally, I know this may sound a bit old-fashioned or even harsh, but hear me out. It's not about being hard to get. It's about knowing your worth and loving yourself. What does the Stoic view say about this? Stoicism shows us how to control and train ourselves, but not in a strict way. If you want to be happy right away, You need to know what's really important and not give it away casually. It's nice to breathe this in. In relationships, or when we're dating someone, we often feel like we have to share everything with them, like our time, our space, and our inner thoughts. The Stoics, on the other hand, say to take a step back, because things that are easy to get lose their value over time. It's how people are. What's the point of mystery, meaning, and expectation if you're always open and say yes to everything? Let's discuss how to restrict access in a polite and stoic manner now. First, it's about how you look. Dress classy but not too fancy. Not only is it about style, it's a message that says, I value myself. You're not hiding, but you're also not giving away too much. Something about me makes me feel like I'm more than what I appear to be at first glance. Time and attention come next. Being picky about who gets your time is very useful in a world where we are always linked. My time is valuable, and I choose to spend it wisely, is what it's all about, not playing games. When you're with someone, give them your full attention. When you're not available, though, feel good about it, because it means you're focused on your own life, your interests, and your growth. Stoicism also teaches us how to control our feelings. In no way does this make you cold or detached. This means you don't let things really bother you. You keep your cool. You don't just give your mental energy to anyone. They have to earn it too. I'm not suggesting that you turn into a stoic figure, mind you. Connecting with other people is what makes life interesting. However, the beauty of going slowly and making a relationship that isn't just based on quick access and pleasure is that it helps you build something that is deep and lasts. Remember that limiting access is not about making other people feel bad or using their emotions to get what we want. On the contrary, it is an act of great self-respect that fits with our core beliefs. People who limit access show that they value themselves and believe that others should value them equally by doing things that aren't just words. We have to be a little more choosy in the people we talk to, more careful in the choices we make, and more controlled in the way we say things. It's about finding the right mix between being honest and keeping some things to yourself in order to protect your mental health and self-esteem. In our current world of meetings and relationships, we are following the Stoics' lead by taking this method. We are pledging to live by our core values and to establish clear limits that reflect our worth and respect. And trust me, this way of thinking changes everything about how other people see and treat us. We are sending a clear message to the world around us when we value ourselves and act with the resolve and consistency of the Stoics. We are saying that we deserve to be treated with respect and care, and we are not willing to give up our integrity for fear of being alone or not being accepted. Pay attention to what you do, not what you say. Stoicism is about practical wisdom, which means judging people by their deeds rather than just their words, as we've seen. There are a lot of nice words and empty claims in the world, especially when it comes to relationships. The Stoics, on the other hand, teach us to look beyond that and watch deeds because they show us the truth. It's easy to say what we think is right or what other people want to hear, to make promises, and to paint a picture of the future that sounds great. But do you show others how to do things? Do what you do match what you say? That's where the story really is. For real, we've all been there. When we first meet someone, they start telling us all these wonderful things, and we get caught up in them. But then, over time, what they do doesn't match up. They say they'll call but don't, and they change their minds at the last minute. Still, their words hold us tight. Our stoic inner self must step in at this point. People who practice stoicism learn not to let words or feelings get the best of them. It has to do with being sensible and seeing things as they really are. When someone's deeds don't match what they say, it's a sign that something is wrong. It's the universe's way of telling us to pay attention. The way our relationships work has really changed since we've changed our approach. We stop focusing on words and love promises and start noticing the little things. How they act when they're stressed. Do they keep their promises? And are they there for us not just in words, but in a real, physical way? We send a clear and strong message that says, I'm not just listening to what you say, I'm watching what you do, when we focus on actions. This is the most interesting part of the process. People around us know that they can't just say nice things to get our attention. They have to show us how valuable they are and what they really want by doing real, constant things. This change in perspective gives us the power to see things more clearly and wisely in our relationships. It shows us the difference between what people say and what they do, and it helps us form deeper, more sincere bonds based on trust and respect. In the end, it helps us cultivate better and happier relationships, where being consistent in what we say and do is very important. To protect our heart and inner peace, it's important to remember that it's not about being critical or suspicious of everyone around us. Instead, it's about being smart and careful in the right amounts. With a touch of Stoic wisdom, this wisdom tells us not to let our feelings control what we do, but to stick to our core ideals and principles. The goal is to find a good mix between your heart and head, your desire and your sense of reason. In this way, it's important to remember to watch what people do and listen to what they say. Having a Stoic attitude in love means being logical, aware, and smart in our relationships and interactions with others. Really understanding that deeds, not words, are what show how people feel and what they want to do is what this means. We can make better choices in our relationships if we pledge to this philosophy of life. These decisions will be based on a deep knowledge of truth and an honest respect of both ourselves and others. Get ready to leave. Stoicism has a beautiful idea called detachment. This doesn't mean being cold or heartless, but rather knowing what you can and can't control. One of the most powerful things you can control is whether to stay in a bad situation or leave it. Relationships are also discussed here. Some things inside us tell us that what we're going through is not what we deserve, but we stay. We hold on to the hope that things will get better or change because we're afraid of being alone or seeing things change. This is the turning point in history, though. Real power comes from realizing that we can choose not to stay in a position that goes against our morals. And this doesn't mean you should give up everything at the first sign of trouble. It takes work, effort, and patience to be in a relationship. But what's most important